Yeah, but the woke perspective is this: they have these terms like gender-affirming care, and it sounds so wonderful.
Yeah,
gender-affirming care,
like body positivity.
Sounds like something hugging you.
Yes, it's Orwellian.
Someone's helping you. They're
right.
They're affirming your gender. They care about you. They're hugging you. It sounds good. But
this is what Orwell said: when you control the language, you control the ideas.
Yes,
it's fascinating. You call it body positivity. You call it gender affirming care.
Yeah,
and the ideas follow.
Fast Zone News here, back with more breaking news, and today we're going to be checking out Joe Rogan's brand new interview with Bill Maher. Joe had Bill on his podcast this week, and they ended up having a very controversial conversation. They talked about everything from Donald Trump to border security, but settled on discussing the trans community for the majority of the interview. This was truly an eye-opening video, and if you guys want to continue to see the latest Joe Rogan content, hit the subscribe button below.
I've had conversations with people where you're like, have you met Richard Simmons? Like, are you crazy? You think that's a fucking choice? Like, the idea that...
So they're basically talking about if transitioning is a choice or not, and they have pretty strong opinions.
I had one guy who... he compared it to murder. Like, you might want to kill someone, but you don't do it because it's a sin. I was like, well, but imagine if you were just like rabidly attracted to women and culturally things were reversed. And for some reason, like women caused reproduction and you don't want more people because we're overpopulated and gay is the only morally right way to pursue sexual activity. Right. Imagine how horrible that would be. It would suck.
Well, see, this is why it's so odd to me that gay and trans have wound up in the same grouping, LGBTQ. Excuse me, I'm sorry, hate crime. I don't remember all.
I think there's a 2 and an A.
He said hate crime.
A in there and a plus.
Okay, then that's what I just said.
I know, it's like they keep adding letters to it. It's like before you know it, it's gonna be the entire alphabet, and we're just gonna. And it's like these things that no one's even heard of. I could see like them combining everything, like the equity movement with like obese people, which is now beautiful, they say, and minorities will become a part of the LGBTQ. And it'll just be like this big group of liberal insanity. And I could just see it growing. Watch, these letters will just get longer and longer and longer the longer we allow this insanity to go on.
I don't know what the 2 is.
That's Two-Spirit.
I saw. Is that what it is?
It could be. Who knows?
Oh my God! If that's what it is, that's amazing.
But what I'm saying is
that is what it is.
It is.
Oh Jesus!
Two-Spirit. Oh my God! And I'm not sure I could even define Two-Spirit.
Two-Spirit. I didn't even know it existed until I saw Trudeau.
That's hysterical.
Trudeau rattled off the latest list. One time, Lord. we have to protect. Unlike America, we have to protect our Two-Spirit people. What is it? I don't know. Let's find out what Two-Spirit is. What does Two-Spirit mean?
Two-Spirit. I think I've heard AOC talk about it too.
Oh boy! Okay, now offensive amongst Native Americans, a person who identifies with any of a variety of gender identities, which are not exclusively those of their biological sex.
What?
Yeah, but gender identities which are not exclusively... How many of them are there?
Right.
How many gender identities?
Exactly. It's like they just keep adding, and it's like they expect you to know them all. And it's like, to what extent do I need to participate in the way you look? I don't need to be concentrating on that. I live in the real world where there's a man and a woman. I bet that 90% of the people that support this insane movement... They don't even know what two spirits mean. They can't even say all the letters. It's just a virtue signal thing, and nobody even knows what it means, and nobody talks about the terrible things that happen within this community. And it's like, it's crazy. People just support stuff that they don't even know anything about. It's like, yeah, equity and inclusion. Yeah. It's like, God, these people are allowed to vote.
Two-spirit?
But in that definition, it said transgender. Yeah. And why do we also need to include it if we have transgender already? Because one person complained, I'm guessing.
Well, believe with Native Americans, that's what they referred to transgender people as. I think it's the Lakota. Look that up. I think it was like a protected class in their community because they felt like this person understood both groups. They were biologically male, but they had so many traits of being feminine. They're probably gay men, but they were biologically male that had so many traits of femininity that they thought they were two-spirit. Like, this is the type of person that we could come to for guidance because they understand women and they understand men. And so it was thought of that way. The same way, like, they had some, like, fascinating roles in their culture. Like, one of them was a Heyoka, which was their sacred clown. They had a guy who made fun of everything. And if you couldn't make fun of something, it was bullshit. Like, if you had the greatest warrior, the biggest chief, the chief's wife, you can make fun of anything. And if you couldn't make fun of it, it was bullshit. Like, there was something where if you had, hey, don't make fun of that, everybody's like, whoa, what is this thing we can't make fun of? Like, why can't we make fun of this? Is this a bullshit thing? And it's
yeah, Joe always seems to go on these, like, tangents. It's like, what are we...
It's a good way to detect bullshit.
But what I was saying was it's odd to me that they group them together because in a fundamental way, trans and gay are almost exact opposites because gay is all about, I was born this way.
Right.
And trans is, the way I'm born, fuck that.
Right. Yeah.
Jump ball.
Right.
Let's change that. And that to me seems to be fundamentally different.
Well,
And-
what
and
scares
at
me
odds.
about it is what they're doing to children. You know, and I know you got that fucking joke on your show about break out the dick saw. I was like, I remember you said that. I was like, Jesus, Bill, you just went hard. But I'm so glad you're doing that because there's no one else on late night television that's ever gonna fucking do that other than you.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane because that's what they're doing. They're taking these kids that are like 5, 6, 7 years old, and they're literally taking them to the doctor and giving them hormone blockers, or even worse, genital mutilation. And these kids are like kids. And you remember when you were kids, you wanted to be a superhero one day, and you wanted to be a firefighter the next, and maybe you want to be an animal the next day. It's like we're feeding into this stuff that's just a phase for the kid. And it's sickening because no one's talking about it. And like that girl Jazz Jennings that's on the TLC show, she's a perfect example. They fed it for this TV show, and guess what? She regrets doing it. The mom has to force her to do dilation, and she's like, I don't want to do it. It's like all these kids that are doing this are going to regret it in the future. I guarantee it. And we just don't have the data on it yet. And I believe the suicide rates even go up after they transition or begin transitioning. The suicide rate actually goes up. So I don't think this is really helping kids at all. It's making them sicker. It's feeding into a mental illness, and we're making these kids sicker. It's sad, and now the parents can get arrested for not going along with it. It's like, what world are we in?
Yeah,
but it's terrifying that they're calling it gender affirming care when it's really childhood mutilation. Before you have the ability to figure out what permanent means, you're fucking 7 years old. You can't get your face tattooed.
No.
You can't go to war. You can't get married. There's reasons for all that stuff. You're too young. And this idea that you should be able to make life-changing choices like hormone blockers,
Right.
which are, A, not reversible, no matter what the fuck they say. They say it's reversible. No, the changes happen to your body during puberty. And if you stop those changes, that change is you can't reverse that. You're going to have a micropenis. You're taking estrogen while your body's developing. You're blocking your testosterone. If you're doing all that stuff, it's going to have an effect on your body. Now, if you're happy with that effect and you don't care, okay, but how many people aren't, and how many people are young, and how many detransitioners are there who have horrible stories?
More and more and more and more, it seems like. You see it on the news all the time. These people are like, yeah, they just fed into me as a kid, and I regret it now. It's so sad. It's like, imagine being one of these people that, like, cut your breasts off or cut your penis off and at, like, under 10, and then you get to be an adult or 18 when everything starts to fully develop in your brain, and you're like, what did I do to myself? That is a terrifying thought. Because think about when you're a kid. You don't even remember a lot of being a kid. It's like you're seven years old, and you just it's terrible to think about.
And you're a monster and a bigot if you even bring that up, which is fucking insane.
No, I couldn't agree more. They're so cavalier about the medical repercussions.
Right.
Now, as with all of these things, if this country wasn't so ridiculously polarized, we could come up with some reasonable view on it, which is trans a real thing? Of course. Are some people born in a body that, for lack of a better term, doesn't, you're born in the wrong body, or your sexuality doesn't match what's in your mind gender-wise? It does happen. And some of it is trendy. Some of it is just a TikTok challenge that got out of hand.
That's exactly right.
Kind of.
Okay.
It's a social contagion.
But even if I was, now this is just me, but I'm allowed my opinion. If I was 100 billion% convinced I was born in the wrong body, I still wouldn't do anything to my body because medical considerations come first. The idea that you can just take some sort of puberty blockers or just snap on, snap off organs without really hurting myself medically and taking years off my life is ridiculous. And so I would somehow make it work with the equipment I would.
And Bill's a Democrat. Bill's like a hardcore Democrat, and he gets a lot of shit for talking this way. But it's just common sense.
Was born with, because we're just not that advanced medically to make it work and still be healthy.
Yeah, but the woke perspective is this: they have these terms like gender-affirming care, and it sounds so wonderful.
Yeah,
gender-affirming care,
like body positivity.
It sounds like something hugging you.
Yes, it's Orwellian.
Someone's helping you. They're they're affirming your gender. They care about you. They're hugging you. It sounds good. But
this is what Orwell said: when you control the language, you control the ideas.
Yes,
it's fascinating. You call it body positivity, you call it gender-affirming care, and the ideas follow, or what people think are ideas.
That's exactly right. That's what the Democrats seem to do, and really politicians seem to do with everything. A perfect example is like the bills they pass in Congress. It's like he's saying, if you control the language, you control the narrative. Like the Inflation Reduction Act, he called his bill, and it did nothing to even address inflation. It was printing more money. Or they call it like Save the Soldiers Bill, and it's about like transitioning kids actually. And then they go to the news and they're like, Republicans are against the Save the Soldiers Bill. And they're like, yeah, because it's 1,000 pages long, and on page 800 it says donate to transitioning centers or donate to Afghanistan. It's like they hide all this stuff, and then they just give it a super politically correct title for the public, and they don't know the difference. And it's like the same thing, gender affirming care. It sounds like it's a good thing. It's like, no, it's genital mutilation and chemically imbalancing kids' brains. Gender affirming care. Ugh.
How much heat did you take for the dick saw joke?
Oh, a lot. I mean, that whole editorial was basically calling into question basically what you were saying. And the point that I found people had a hard time arguing with was, if this is all real, why is it regional? Why can you go to a dinner party in Los Angeles with like 10 people and half of them have trans kids?
Right.
And that would never happen in Indiana. Now, maybe some people in Indiana are afraid to come out. That could be true, too. I'm sure it is, to some degree.
That's not it.
It's just ridiculous that it's a regional issue to this degree. So obviously, and I know people who say, oh, yeah, at my school, all the kids want to be trans. It's just not cool to be straight anymore.
Right.
It's like every generation has to find a way to say to their parents who gave you everything, fuck you.
Right.
Whatever you do, I'm going to do different.
Exactly. And I'll shut up after this, but it's a perfect example. It's like there's this huge population in California or New York City of trans kids. That's because the parents are brainwashing the kids, because it's all liberal parents. And I make this point all the time. Having a trans kid in LA is no different than having like a Louis Vuitton bag that you wear just to get a compliment from someone. It's like these parents probably have these dinner parties, and they're like, yeah, my kid's trans too. Which doctor are you using for your hormone blockers? It's like, which doctor are you scheduling your genital mutilation surgery? Da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, my kid's trans too. It's just like the same thing. It's just trendy. Like you said, it's so insane. It's trendy to genitally mutilate kids in the Democratic Party right now. And that's a losing issue. I think I'd say at least 80% of the population sees that this is absolutely insane. And I don't know why they keep pushing it. It's a money thing. It's honestly a money thing. And what Democrats honestly want, they don't want people to reproduce because it's easier for them to give government assistance to one person. They don't want a family in general. They want a bunch of single people that only have one income and can't get houses and can't get ahead in life. So they want to destroy the family and make it so people can't reproduce. So the way they do that, they do trans surgeries because guess what? One income is not going to go as far as two incomes in America. And they see that as like a more likelihood that that person's going to need government assistance. And if they need government assistance, guess what? That's the Democratic Party. So they're like building voters from like kids these days. It's sick.
And for a lot of kids, that now is just gender. My stupid, lame parents think that humans are male and female. Gross. I'm fluid.
I'm fluid.
Okay. But like you say, when you get a little older and you've mutilated your body, maybe that'll be a decision you're happy with, and maybe it won't, but there's no going back.
No going back. No going back. Yeah, it's terrifying. It's just terrifying that it's also something that people are making money of.
And this is the one thing I really don't like about Biden is the way, and I know you really hate him. I don't hate him, but the way he just goes along with shit like this. I feel like he doesn't really believe in it. He
had the big trans gathering at the White House where he put the trans flag above the American flags. Joe Biden is a clown.
He's just like an old guy who doesn't quite get it.
He gets
it. The kids are doing what? But he's like the husband, who doesn't really understand what the kids are into, right. But he doesn't want to start a big fight about it. So when the wife says, honey, the kids want to cut their dicks off and tear down a statue of Lincoln, he's like, yeah, oh, fine, okay, I'm watching the game, leave me alone. And so he just goes along. Yeah. With all the woke nonsense because he doesn't want to fight that wing of his party. He can't afford to have a battle on the left.
Yeah.
So that's my big issue with him. I know you have others.
So that's going to conclude the clip. They actually switched topics here to and I'm going to do a part 2 on this video because there was so many things to cover. They switched to Trump, who's the bigger liar, Trump or Biden. It's probably going to be my next video, the Trump and Biden. Please hit the like button below. It really helps our channel and the video. It helps the video get out to more people. So I'd be greatly appreciated if you could just smash the like button below. Let's try to get to 300 likes this video. And if you like the video, hit the subscribe button. And if you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification because why not? It's just going to alert you on the latest Fast Zone News content. And why wouldn't you want that? And let me know in the comment section below what you thought of this video. If you agree with Bill Maher or Joe Rogan, agree with what I had to say, or if you disagree, let me know in the comment section below. So that's going to conclude this clip, and as you guys just saw, they totally disagree with the trans movement. They clearly think this is absolutely insane, and I honestly totally agree. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you think trans operations for kids are okay, or do you think it's absolutely insane? Let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you guys. And as always, I want to thank all my viewers and all my new subscribers. And if you're not already subscribed, hit the button below to gain access to the latest news and content 7 days a week. And this has been another edition of Fast Zone News. Peace out.